We think the proliferation of new channels and platforms that has happened, in particular over the last 5 years, has really helped us to create new forums for storytelling, us and our clients. But we believe that storytelling is something that should happen across all channels all the time, even in the most simple retail ad. There has to be some kind of brand story, some kind of brand purpose, and some kind of brand impression. I'm Lesley Bielby, Chief Strategy Officer at Hill Holliday. Hill Holliday is an ad agency out of Boston and New York. Our primary focus is to really kind of help clients win the daily share battle. That's our positioning as our own brand. And it's been an interesting thing to live with as an agency, because it's actually attracted a lot of great new clients, especially over the last year. We've won a lot of new business in that space because we've now got focus. We know who we are, we know where we're going, we know the kind of clients that we want to work with, and that's those that are literally trying to get their unfair share every day. So a lot of clients in the retail space. You know, one of the challenges that we discover, you know, every time we do any piece of quantitative research amongst customers, is when we try and track the effectiveness of any kind of communication, the consumer doesn't know the difference between TV and video and print and digital these days. They just get a brand impression, you know, and so it's almost impossible to track that today. You know, I think in digital we can track, you know, clicks and that gives us some kind of scientific basis for how effective advertising can be. But when it comes to storytelling, it's a challenge. You know, how do you attribute something, how do you attribute a change in a brand impression or a purchasing decision based on a story that you may have heard 6 months ago? It's very hard to do that. So as a Chief Strategy Officer responsible for a lot of strategists at the agency, and you know, it is absolutely our responsibility to convince our clients that even if they want to put out a strong retail message, to create a lasting connection with consumers, it's really important to pull them in with a story, because stories work in a completely separate part of the brain. So in a previous life, I was a psychotherapist. The left side of the brain tends to be the side that is preoccupied with rational thought. The right side is preoccupied with emotion. So when you tell a story, you unlock something in the consumer's brain that is receiving that story that makes them feel something, because they connect it to an event in their own lives. And that's why when we show ads that are story-based, people have strong emotion. People cry, people laugh, and it's an impression that really gets embedded deep in their engrams and their brains, and it doesn't go away. So, you know, we believe truly that even if you're a retail client that is looking at your sales every minute, you will attract people that are in that market if you put out rational facts that moment. But if you tell a story that lasts, in addition to giving the important information about the product, you've got them for a lot longer. So when they're in the market to think about a brand in your category, they're going to consider you, and they may not even know why, because this is something that has become deeply rooted in their subconscious. So Chili's is a brand that's been with Hill Holliday for about 10 years now. We have an amazing team working on that brand at the agency. The biggest challenge that Chili's has, and they will tell you this, is this question of, well, how much of my media dollars do I put into storytelling and how much do I put into just price and product? And so one of the things that we did in the course of the last few months is we worked together, so that their team and our team worked together to create a campaign that took them way back to their roots. So we interviewed some of the founders, and you know, we kind of knew this story, but we wanted more richness and more information. We discovered that Chili's, most people don't know this, it was created back in the 70s by a bunch of long-haired hippies who love burgers, love motorbikes, love beer, and they love chili, and they wanted to create a little shack in Texas, in Dallas, Texas, where they and their friends could go hang out, and so they did, they created it. And then it got bigger and bigger, and then it got, you know, more kind of prevalent, and they opened more and more stores, and then they sold to Brinker, and the rest is history. And so of all the brands in their category, that was one that truly had a story to tell, that was based on a strong purpose. And that purpose of, we've heard the word authenticity a lot in this you know, over the course of the last couple of days. But consumers demand real. They demand real. They truly do. And this was a real story, a real authentic story. The kind of feedback that we got was people didn't know that Chili's was a brand that was this authentic. It was a real surprise to them. And it made them feel a sense of warmth and affection for the brand that they never had before. And it did lift sales, which is the most important thing.